god! G'day there, once again viewers, this is your mate Kamikaze78 here, coming to you guys with some more Modern Warfare content. And guys, on the topic of content, Call of Duty has dropped its Season 1 of content to players today, and I've got to say guys, the first map that we got our hands on for this season of content was Crash, one of my favourite maps of all time from this series. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 was my first ever Call of Duty game, and Crash, I don't know guys, there was something about that map that resonated with me. It is exactly as I remembered here in this game as well, and a lot of the lobbies that I've sort of gotten myself into as of late have been saying, it just ain't the same old Crash, and part of me just sits here like, yeah, it is. It's just got a different flow and meta that has changed over the years with the game itself, and obviously the gameplay on the map is going to change as a result of that. I personally still think the map flows amazingly well, and I've really enjoyed it as it is, and hey, it makes me very keen for the small 6v6 maps that are coming up for the other seasons and the remainder of this season. Port, on the other hand, look, I certainly enjoyed it all things considered. The fighting around the actual control points was enjoyable. The fighting in amongst the shipping containers as well was great. I found myself being able to get a lot of cover from kill streaks in the shipping containers, which I really liked. But I feel as though the map has a couple of issues with open spaces and verticality, kind of what we're seeing with Tarkov District. There are just far too many cranes for snipers to get up on top of and even reach out and start camping team HQs, which makes for an incredibly frustrating experience if your team gets pushed back to their HQ. The bridge that also traverses the center of the map makes for a really devastating spot where IFVs can get up top of and start raining hellfire on the battlefield below, and I think it would be a fairly good move overall to make it so that the vehicles can't actually get up to that bridge, but infantry still can. But hey, that's just my thoughts. Port still ranks higher than Tarkov District for me by tensfold. I really don't like that map, but I think that the farmlands still gets a better rank overall. But those are the only maps we got, and it's something that I also kind of wanted to address in this video. The fact that the update that did launch today, we only got 2 new maps, that being Port and Crash, the new weapons, the Battle Pass, and a new game mode called Reinforce, which I haven't played yet, but sounds like an interesting, slower-paced addition. I haven't quite read up on the details yet, but I do know that it's got a revive mechanic similar to Cyber Attack in there. Now, I think the main point of contention here is the fact that everyone in the community thought that everything that was initially revealed in that image that went around on Twitter and all the bells and whistles was going to be launched out on this date. The reveal did sort of suggest that being the case for sure. Like, I thought we were going to get 6 new maps today, as well as a bunch of other content to go alongside with it. And yeah, when I found out that only a small amount of content would be releasing today, yeah, it sucked a little, I'm not gonna lie. I even had a slight inkling that we'd only see a few pieces of content today, but I was still hopeful to receive the entire suite to get Call of Duty players hyped up for this first season. But by the same token, I can see why Infinity Ward have chosen to go down this path. They're very clearly driving this to be a quote-unquote season of content that all players are going to get for free, to try and keep the hype surrounding the game while players continue to grind for this Battle Pass. Now, the reason I see why they're doing this is because every time I've gone into Apex Legends, when they've announced a new season, if you will, they've got a new Battle Pass, they often launch a new map, a new weapon, meta updates with a new character, as well as hop-up changes and all the bells and whistles there. Sure, you get a giant day 1 update with the new Battle Pass to reinvigorate players to get in there and start playing the game again and grinding out a new season of cosmetics. But then it's only small balance passes throughout the rest of the season, and the hype starts to die down really quickly, and it's the same old grinding for these cosmetics. Then at the end of the day, just make your character look cool. That's about it. Whereas with Call of Duty here, for 60 days, we have got this Battle Pass to grind out, and by drip feeding us this new content over time, we are given new things to try out on a regular basis that helps to keep the game fresh while we're obviously grinding out for these new cosmetics. I've heard it down the pipeline that new new content might be dropping every week, and if that's the case, then that to me sounds like a nice drip of content that ensures the game is going to constantly evolve throughout this new season. We aren't just going to get a new season of content that then stays stale for 60 days. That is not what I want to see here with this game. We have to remember here, guys, that we are getting a lot of content here for free, and on top of that, we have a battle pass system that shows you very clearly what you are going to unlock and when you're going to unlock it. That includes only cosmetic items down the paid stream. Once upon a time, Call of Duty would drop a map pack that cost you $15 to $20 that would, yes, come with 4 maps out of the gate, but would split the player base up drastically, making it difficult to find lobbies on those maps. And the godforsaken loot boxes that have plagued the last couple of games, let's just be thankful that they're done and dusted. Overall, this is a system that is a lot fairer to the player base as a whole, as it keeps everyone together in one pool of players, and it also allows for players to invest into the game as they see fit without being at a severe disadvantage weapon-wise. People need to remember that this is a huge step for the franchise, and if they continue to follow this path for the title for the next year, then they may even have a COD game that could stand the test of time and maybe last longer than a year. Dun 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 dun. Look, all I'm trying to say, guys, is that I'm really happy with how Modern Warfare is handling post-launch content. Now, some have been saying that the content shouldn't be drip-fed to us if it's already good to go, especially with the current lineup of maps in the game, and the fact that they are mediocre at best. And while I can certainly see a fantastic point of view there, and definitely agree to a certain extent, you know, I'm reminded every time I play fucking Piccadilly for one, I think that bringing out the content over time is not as bad as people make it out to be, and I reckon that time is probably going to go faster than we think. Assuming that Infinity Ward don't wait until the end of the season to bring out the new maps, that would be a touch dodgy. I think that they would definitely need to bring out these maps sooner rather than later to keep the community happy. As of right now, I still have yet to unlock the new weapons, but I have been in a game or two where I've seen people using them, and I've got to say, the new LMG looks like a total beast. I've seen the thing pump out loud in my general direction at such a speed that made me come close to soiling my briefs. And the new AR, well, I've seen some pretty promising gameplay on YouTube of it already, and at this point now, I'm just keen to see what kind of new weapons that they are willing to add to the game as time goes on, and what kind of customization options are available for these two new babies for us to sink our teeth into. Now, there are still some very big things on the community's mind that the game has not addressed yet. One of the big ones people have been asking Infinity Ward to change is the place of dead silence in the game, from a field upgrade to a perk, and I personally agree that this should definitely happen. Footsteps in this game have always remained to be one of the most powerful ways to track the location of enemies when they are nearby, and I feel as though that there should be a direct counter to that, to the players who choose a more stealthy play style can do if they want to. You know, when you put it up against the quick time to kill and the claymore spam that exists in this game, it is almost impossible to play a run and gun play style when the entire lobby is sitting around making s'mores. Being able to counter footsteps, I think, is already a huge step to making this playstyle more viable, and by making Dead Silence a perk, you know, you'd be trading an already powerful perk for one like this, so it's a fair trade in my opinion that wouldn't break the balance of the game. And on top of that, there's the skill-based matchmaking, the saw in players' mouths, the elephant in the room for this community, if you will. Plenty of people are praying for it to be removed from the game, and that they are hating going against the quote-unquote sweats all the time after they have a couple of good games. Now, I'm not going to lie, I personally don't mind skill-based matchmaking being in the game here at all. In fact, I welcome it. I know that some people aren't going to like hearing me say that, but at the end of the day, if you're a player who is really good at this game, then you should be playing against people of the same skill level to you. It is how you are going to get better as a player, and how you're going to be able to challenge yourself towards victories that actually feel earned and not just given to you. There have been a lot of people complaining about the fact that their KDs are going down by comparison to what they've performed in previous Call of Duty games, and you have to understand that when you're versing players more akin to your skill level more often, your KD is inherently going to go down, because if you put two people against equal skill using the same gear against each other, their KDs are of course going to limit out to a 1 on average, because they're able to trade kills a lot more regularly. The project done up by Drifter and Exclusive Ace, which I've left a link in the description down below to, makes it very clear that ping matchmaking is still king overall. So it's clear that this quote-unquote skill-based matchmaking system that is in the game right now isn't getting in the way of you having a comfortable experience in the game as far as your ping is concerned. But they also do discuss that there may be a hidden MMR that is placing players in lobbies depending on the skill, but there's no way to test whether or not your global stats are influencing that, or whether or not it's the last 5 games or X amount of games that are influencing that. There's no way to test it at all. But at the end of the day, new players getting farmed up by veterans of the game is not a fair experience for said new players. So I personally don't know why so many people are getting antsy about the SBMM in this game. If there was one element of feedback that I had for this system right now, it would be that it's probably a little bit too strong in certain cases. I have been in lobbies where I've been able to go on an absolutely devastating kill streak only to get placed into a lobby where I am struggling to, get over 5 kills a kill streak. Now, that's not to say that I'm not playing poorly on a certain map or I'm picking the wrong weapon for a certain map. It could be just me as a player, but I do find as though that there's a significant jump sometimes in skill performance on the players that I'm versing based on my previous experience in certain games. If they were to sort of make the system just a little bit less harsh in some cases, I think then we would find a lot more people enjoying the overall experience that comes from skill-based matchmaking. But at the end of the day, guys, skill-based matchmaking is something that's going to be in a lot more games nowadays, and it's just a hard fact that we need to understand in Call of Duty Modern Warfare. You are simply going to be put against players of your own skill level, and I myself am overall okay with that. But I would love to discuss that in the comment section down below with you guys, and discuss what your thoughts are in relation to skill-based matching. Do you think it's got a place in Call of Duty, or do you think it's completely and totally out of place here for this game? Either way, guys, that brings us to a close for today's video. If you enjoyed it, a backhand and a like button would be greatly appreciated. And say you've happened to stumble across the channel for the first time here today, guys, and you enjoyed the video, consider backhanding the subscribe button and the notification bell whilst you're at it to keep up to date with all content that I release here on my channel. We also stream every week on Twitch with the schedule updating weekly, so be sure to follow me on Twitch as well as on Twitter to keep up to date with all things happening there. Join the Discord as well to get involved with the community. Once again, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one.